Hey guys, so it seems like a lot of folks out there thinks that playing Summoner Necro is not viable, especially when it comes to World Tier 3, World Tier 4, and more of the endgame content. So I've been playing Summoner Necro all the way from level 1 up to level 84, and while yes, there are some rough moments, in general I think minions are actually totally viable. So what I have here is a video of me running through a tier 46 nightmare dungeon. The monsters are level 100, so that's 16 levels above my necro. It wasn't a fast clear by any means, but it was okay. I get through the end. And so if you like playing Summoner Necro and have doubts whether it can do endgame content, hopefully this run will give you a bit of hope. Oh, and I should mention that this is an actual pure minion build, and by pure I mean it doesn't rely on, it doesn't use Ring of Mendeln. So this build is 99% focused on the minions themselves. I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so here we have some of the dungeon fixes. It's nothing too insane. The nerf on crit damage would definitely hurt us, since a lot of the gearing relies on or gives us crit damage. If you're wondering why I'm using Blood Golem, I'm still not sure about that. I was hoping that Blood Golem outputs more DPS. The other consideration, of course, was Iron Golem with the stun and vulnerability debuff, which I've been using for the majority of me playing the Summoner Necromancer. But yeah, I wanted to see how the Blood Golem performs. It's kind of hard to tell how much damage he does, so yeah, we'll see. And I use Bone Spear mostly, there's actually several reasons. Primarily to get the vulnerable debuff, but it's also, even if I didn't optimize it in any way, it didn't have any a whole lot of aspects or modifications to it, it's still so strong. So I find it useful to, when there's mob approaching me from behind, there's a chance that I can just kill it. And it's also really nice to snipe out like range units or those units that gives resistance auras. But yeah, as you can see, I don't really have like the I cannot maintain the essence to just spam it constantly. But yeah, this build relies heavily on extra damage to vulnerable units, so having that debuff is super sweet. And the same for Bone Prison. Like, everything that's in the Bone Prison gets a vulnerable debuff, so that's how the minion does the most damage. And yeah, if you notice, I always play very carefully. Our Necro is quite fragile. It doesn't have a whole lot of defensive skills. So playing in the back, letting your minion tank and do damage is, well, that's what we want from a Summoner build, right? Sometimes I get too eager and get too close to enemies, and I often ended up being dead, especially in this higher tier dungeons. where certain enemies can one-shot me easily. Yeah, one thing I noticed that I don't enjoy too much playing Summoner Necro is the fact that 90% of the time I'm like, I can just barely see the enemy because I didn't want to get too close to them. So I'm basically fighting things just barely on the edge of my screen. I wonder if a good fix for this would be to just for like a summoner build to allow the camera to zoom out a little bit, right? Because I think it also makes sense thematic wise, because it makes you feel like you're like a minion lord overseeing the battlefield more than just like the camera focusing, like zooming in onto you. Oh, these little spiralings have increased health, that's why.
I lack the required essence. I'm not ready.
So I only use one aspect to support or to enhance the bone spear, is the one that gives vulnerable debuff to anything that's hit behind the bone spear. That way my minion can deal that extra damage. Yeah, these elementals gotta be really careful. And I'll say this is not the easiest build to play because there's a lot you need to do. You gotta stay alive, you gotta dodge a lot of things, you gotta make sure to keep the debuffs vulnerable, decrepify on the enemies, and kinda know what your minions are doing. Alright, here's the nemesis of the minion build. It's the fire enhanced elites. They will just melt our minions. But see, this is where Army of the Dead comes into play. I think it's a lot of time underestimated, because with the aspect, Army of the Dead gives our minion 90% damage reduction, which is huge. Like, the only way they can somewhat like survive through these like barrage of fire is using Army of the Dead. And even so, look at that, all of our mages are gone. Yeah, I also find it useful to just use like a physical obstacle, like walls and trees, to like block that fire that comes out of the elite.
I need more time.
Yeah, in close places like this is oftentimes the more difficult situation for a pure summoner necro, especially the build I'm running that doesn't have a whole lot of defensive options. In this case, it's fine, but there's a lot of elites with various elemental enhancement. Those are often can get pretty tough. This is a good showcase on how I use Bone Prism a lot of the time. I would just use this to block the way so monsters cannot get near me, and they're trapped. Either just they're just trapped on the other side, either fighting, either be behind the Bone Prison or inside the Bone Prison, which in that case is nice. But that way they're forced to just fight the our minions most of the time. Pop army up to dead. Try to kill the guy that gives damage resistance.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, you cannot really see it here, but I do my usual rotation, decrepify, buff my skeletal priests, and bone prison. Yeah, that took a while to clear. I think it's a good example of why minion can use more damage scaling. Ouch, yeah. Don't do that. I often get impatient and just storm ahead. You can do it if you have Bone Storm with shield permanently up, but not with this. Oftentimes it's useful to send your golem up ahead. I usually do decrepify plus send in the golem to start the fight. Trying to snipe out those guys that gives resistance in the back. I think that's one of the biggest value to choosing Bone Spear over something like Blight, which yeah, I've been really enjoying the versatility of Bone Prison because I can use it offensively to give enemy debuff and keep the minions focus fire on the target, or defensively to just, like, most monsters just cannot deal with the Bone Prison blocking their way, except for the Butcher, of course, which I was hoping Bone Prison does more, but nope, Butcher just shreds through it. Not the most amazing damage, but the minions do damage. This might get a bit hairy, but yeah, walls are our friend. It's often interesting when you stand behind a wall in a safe space like this. You like the UI refuses to show the HP bar, but I assure you, the minions are still doing work. Okay, that's a bit hairy. Yeah, that was not the best use of Bone Prison. But somehow I managed to survive. I think with the patch, having the minion being able to target monsters that are cursed really helps in a situation like this. Especially with the skeletal mages being able to have the chill and freeze effect really helps us survive in those situations. Bone Spear is just so nasty. I don't even have the build for it, but it just does so much.
I need more time.
Alright, well, here is the boss, and I think bosses are usually where minion shines the most, because there's one target and there's like a billion minions. Fortunately, when a lot of other monsters spawn, there's no way to tell the minions, hey, ignore them, focus fire on the boss. So yeah. Yeah, look at that boss HP going down. Okay. Distraction. Alright, they're back. Let's put a bone prison and... there we go. I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, I hope this gives you some hope for Summoner Necro. See you later.